Let's settle in for a story. It's one about looking up and finding something you never ever expected. It's called The Kid Who Found a Door Behind the Sky. So let me ask you something. Have you ever really looked up at the sky? I mean, looked so hard you felt like it was hiding something, maybe a secret meant just for you? Well, our story is about a kid, and in a lot of ways, he was just like any other kid, but he had this one little quirk. You see, while all the other kids were busy with their games and their shows, he'd be out there lying in the grass, his eyes glued to the clouds, just watching. He was always dreaming up these entire worlds that he was sure were hiding just out of sight. And of course, the people around him, they didn't really get it. They just kind of laugh and say, "It's just the sky." To them, it was just blue or gray. But to him, to him it was full of possibilities. And then, one evening, right as the sun was dipping below the horizon, the sky blinked. Just for a second. It was this tiny little flicker, almost like the universe was sharing a secret just with him. He must have thought he was imagining it. He rubbed his eyes, but there it was. A faint shimmer, kind of hanging there between the clouds. It wasn't a star. It wasn't a plane. It was something else entirely. It looked almost like a tiny, glowing seam in the fabric of the night. And this wasn't just a one-time thing. The first night, it was barely there, but he kept watching. And night after night, it came back, getting a little bit stronger, a little bit brighter each time, until eventually, it wasn't a shimmer anymore. It had become a door, a tall, glowing door, just floating there in the twilight. And it wasn't in the sky. It looked like it was somehow behind it. He tried to show everyone, his family, his friends, but they'd just look up and see nothing. Just clouds, maybe the first star of the evening. This incredible, magical thing. It was his and his alone. And then came the night everything changed. Without a single sound, that brilliant door just swung open. And this soft breeze came through, carrying with it things that shouldn't be possible. Colors he'd never seen before, music he'd never heard, even feelings that felt like memories, but not his own. Can you imagine what was going through his head? Two voices were arguing inside him. There was that little voice of fear, the cautious one, whispering, "Stay back." But then there was that other voice, the one that made him watch the sky in the first place, the voice of curiosity. And it whispered much, much louder, "Step forward." He listened to that louder voice. He took a huge breath, and he stepped right through that door. So what did he find there? It wasn't outer space, no stars, no planets. No, the place behind the sky was so much stranger and so much more wonderful than that. It was a place made entirely out of ideas. I mean, just picture it. In this world, dreams weren't just in your head. They floated by like beautiful glowing lanterns. Little pieces of lost courage were just lying around, waiting for someone to find them. And every single fear, it took the shape of a kind teacher, there to show you something new. While he was exploring this incredible place, a soft voice seemed to echo all around him, explaining the big secret. It said, "Only those who believe the impossible exists can find this door." He had no idea how long he'd been gone. But when he finally stepped back through and turned around for one last look, it was gone. The door, the shimmer, everything. The seam in the sky had just sealed itself right up. So the door vanished, sure, but not everything went back to how it was before. Something from that place had followed him back. Something inside of him was different. He didn't come back with any souvenirs, no magical trinkets. The gifts he brought back were invisible, but they were so much more precious. He came back with this new confidence in himself, a sense of wonder that was bigger than ever, and he'd picked up one of those pieces of lost courage. And that kid, he grew up. Of course he did. He became an adult with adult things to do. But he never, ever stopped looking at the sky. He never lost that part of himself that knew there was real magic out there, just waiting to be noticed. Because he understood the real truth of his journey. Sometimes the biggest discoveries we make aren't about finding new places at all. Sometimes the most important doors don't lead us somewhere else. They lead us to who we were always meant to become. If this story sparked your imagination, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Mindscapes by Faizu, and join us for more magical journeys.